Hi everyone, Coach Sullivan here again with MGS Coaching Football. To my subscribers, I thank you. Non-subscribers, I'm hoping to tease you into pushing that button. This past fall, I completed my 38th year coaching football, and I was a defensive coordinator. But over that time, I've also been an offensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, a longtime head coach, and all of this at both the collegiate and high school levels. In this presentation, I want to talk to you about one of our payload games that we call Tango. So this is a two-penetrator game, so non-subscribers right off the bat, going to have to push the button. And over here are the key terms that I will use to get you to understand the assignments, how we teach the assignments, how we determine what side to run the loop game on and why. Okay, and then overall, what is the objective of Tango? Why would we call Tango as it relates to a protection? Okay, and then over here, I'll diagram it for you, and included in all of this will be why this guard is in red. All right. So over here, the first key term, number one, is Tango itself. It's a payload game with two penetrators. Okay, first and foremost, and how we determine where we're going to run the loop game, hence the lucky Ringo, is it's to the rover. So in 11 and 21, to the rover. Otherwise, it's to the lizard rip, pass strength. So that would be versus 10, 12, 20, and 22 personnel. Okay? And the inside linebackers make the call, and we teach it. You're either a DN to the call or the DN away, and the nose, he's right smack in the middle of it. Okay? So, speaking of, number two, DN to the call. He goes first, as you see. So it's a Ringo, because there's the rover, right? So in this case, it's the stud. So whenever it's a Ringo, stud knows he's going first. He's in the loop side, okay? And then the end knows he's not. Lucky, it's always the, all right? So it's very, very simple. So non-subscribers, push the button, and you'll learn why that's the case. All right, so DN to the call, in this case, the stud is penetrator number one, which means he's involved in the loop, okay? So he is going to stick A-gap to the call, so his side A-gap, and he's going to pick the center by using a bull rush, okay? So we'll show you how all that plays out. So then the nose, number three, see, he's going second because he's the looper, okay? So what he's going to do is he's going to a little flash step, A-gap opposite, and then he's going to loop behind, in this case, the stud, defensive end, okay? His designated blocker is the guard, hence why the guard is in red, okay? And then the butt side rule, letter D here, to allow your guys to play fast with their feet, they got to be able to play fast up here. So we just simply say, flash A away, then you are A-gap to the call, unless. And the unless is, if the guard's facing you, then you're in B-gap. Okay, and we try and teach everything in rhymes when appropriate, and it is more often than not. So those A away, rip A to the call, unless. Guard's facing you, get in the B. Okay, boom, done. So then number four, the defensive end opposite the call, in this case it's the end, is penetrator number two, which means he's penetrating, but he's not directly involved in the loop game. So he is, and I'll show you how we do this. He stabs B-gap, which means he is getting vertical, penetrating, right? We're trying to attack the protection. And one way to do that is to get penetration. It threatens the quarterback's launch point. Okay? And then he will loop for outside cage versus pass. So how that ties in is the last term, and it's certainly not the least term. For all three defensive linemen, they execute Tango first and then react to run second. Okay, all three. Execute Tango first, react to run second. Okay, because we will call this when we're anticipating a pass, but sometimes they're going to run the football, so you're executing Tango and then you react to the run. Boom, done. So if it were a run, there's no loop for outside cage. Translation, okay? So now over here, just for the sake of the presentation, we're going to say we have all hi-hats, whether it's hard or soft set, doesn't matter. So the surface, okay, is showing hi-hat because they're in pass protection, okay? So the first one we're going to do is, because he is first, penetrator number 1, right, to the call, the stud, stick A gap. So on snap of the football, that is a 2-gap reduction. His aiming point is the near shoulder, near hip of the center. He is going to bull rush that near shoulder, hip of the center, okay? Bull rush it. Boom! And in so doing, he's going to pick the center. So here's what's going on now with Tango. So that brings in the nose, okay? Flash A away. So what that simply means, looks like my black is dying here on me a little bit. That's why I have backup. Okay, and snap of the football. Boom! He's going to take a quick step, head and shoulder. He's got to sell it. Flash, as if you're going to A gap, okay? Flash A away. This brings in why we would call Tango, okay? The guard away from the tight end. As you look at protections and you try and pick up little hints as to how they block an odd front, if you're lucky enough to have film on that, okay? If we think, based on film study, that the guard's going to look to help if the A gap threatens if the nose, threatens this A gap, that's what this is for. Sell it. Draw him. And then now I will do this in blue, right? Remember, then loop A to the call, butt side of your defensive end. And here's the unless. If the guard is facing you, right? Let's say the guard is facing you, then butt side says you get in a B gap. That's the unless. You're there behind the defensive end, unless the guard's facing you, then you're in B gap. Okay? So what we're really doing is, in our film study, this is the guard that we think is going to help with the nose. So we're going to run Tango. This guard can't be right. If he's blocking in B gap or double reading inside outside linebacker, nobody's going to pick up the nose in A gap. If he blocks here, our nose is going to be quickly across his face into the B gap. Has him at a disadvantage. Okay? Over here, the advantage with the second penetrator. Okay? It's a quick step, and then it's vertically getting up the field. Okay? You're not looking to make contact with the guard, but that's technically your aiming point near the guard. Okay? So if this happens and he's got a chance because he's unblocked to make the sack, he takes it. Otherwise, seeing as how this is pass protection, right? Loop for outside cage versus pass, but that's only if he doesn't have a chance for an immediate sack. But see the pressure that we're putting here on this particular expectation. He's going to help in the A gap. We're not necessarily expecting this guard to help. We're thinking he's more of a B gap guy. Okay? And so that's going to that just brought in the technique, the why we would execute Tango based upon film study. So there it is, okay? So as I said at the beginning, subscribe is, right? I hope I teach you push the button, To everybody, if you have questions, please reach out to me at coachmjsullivan@gmail.com. I really appreciate you watching MJS Coaching Football, and I appreciate YouTube for providing this platform.